Edo Community Comic Book Club, October 2024 Titans by Tom Taylor and Nicola Scott, issues 1 to 5, Out of the Shadows. Content and trigger warnings for tonight's comic club include comic history influenced by homophobia and acts of BDSM. There are also mentions of abusive parents, dead parents, misogyny, sexism, sexual exploitation, implications of rape, and enslavement. This is a comprehensive but not a complete list of the many adult concepts and themes that may negatively impact some listeners. Tom Taylor, you know who he is by now, Melbourne-based writer of the 2021 September comic cast book Suicide Squad Bad Blood, writer of aged-up John Kent Superman comics we covered in July 2024's Comic Club, Injustice Time Comics, Dark Knights of Steel, X-Men Red starring Jean Grey, and other non-Big Two books like Seven Secrets, which we'll cover for a 2025 Comic Club, and Neverlanders. He's also wrapped up recently his Nightwing run this year to take on Detective Comics starring Batman. We'll be covering the first trade paperback Leading to the Light of Nightwing for Comic Club next year. Taylor won a Eisner in 2024 with Redondo for Nightwing issue 105, shown purely from Dick Grayson's POV for the entire issue. When asked whether it's trickier to write for Nightwing or Titans, Tom responded in an AIPT interview that it's always a bit trickier to write a team book because you want everyone to have their time to shine. And while the easy trap would be to write everything from Nightwing's POV, as soon as he started writing, he realized he wanted to write more of all of them. Nicola Scott is a comics artist from Sydney, Australia, who debuted in the comics industry by painting covers for a series titled The Watch, published in Australia by Phosphorescent Comics. After attending the 2002 San Diego Comic-Con to make contacts in the US comic industry, in 2003, the following year, she obtained work from Top Cow Comics. That in turn led to her being hired by DC Comics. Nicola Scott's first DC job was drawing Birds of Prey with Gail Simone. On Gail's last issue, issue 108, Nicola got to draw everyone that had ever been on the team over 2 double-page spreads, see the panel in the middle of the slide, and remains one of her proudest work moments from her early career. At DC, she collaborated with writer Gail Simone again on Secret 6, including an iconic panel in issue 9 that not only set a standard for how she would draw Nightwing going forward, but influenced how others drew and thirsted over the character too. In 2010, she drew the Wonder Woman tie-in to Blackest Night, and Scott became the artist for Teen Titans starting with issue 88, and she drew the series until the end of its run with issue 100 and the 2012 Earth 2 series focused on the JSA. Nicola Scott and Greg Rucka launched a new Wonder Woman series for DC in June 2016. Scott drew the even-numbered issues and Liam Sharp drew the odd-numbered issues, and the third and final issue of Wonder Woman Historia, The Amazons, was also drawn by Nicola Scott. One of the comics that greatly influenced Nicola Scott, and was possibly her first ever comic purchase, was Wonder Woman issue 7 from the 1987 run. The George Perez Wonder Woman inspired a creativity in Nicola that she hadn't experienced in comic art they'd seen previously. They didn't grow up with comic art during their childhood, outside of a little bit of Archie and Garfield, and sometimes Josie and the Pussycats. She came from a TV family and was exposed to Linda Carter's Wonder Woman and the Super Friends cartoon. And when Nicola did see comic characters drawn on a page outside of that, it was either butch masculine characters like Thor and Hulk that intimidated young Nicola a little, or if she did see Wonder Woman on a cover, she'd be surrounded by the 70s Justice League with characters that weren't in Super Friends episodes she'd seen, like Green Arrow and Black Canary. While she did pick up some of the superpowers toys of the main recognizable Super Friends, which came with mini comics, one year during her youth, in the late 80s, while her mum was in the Asian grocer next door, Nicola went into a knick-knacky store that happened to have some superhero things to kill some time, and saw this cover that was steeped in detail in Greek mythology, which was so different from the Linda Carter version of Wonder Woman that she knew from TV. George Perez, young Adam Hughes, and to a lesser extent Kevin McGuire, were all early influences for Nicola in terms of where they chose to put lines and detail and where they chose to leave spaces. Before comics became Nicola's full-time gig, Nicola would work a hospitality job in addition to doing comics work. Nicola drew the creator-owned Image series that was published by Image, Black Magic, written by Greg Rucka from 2015 till 2018. Nicola Scott also did the Convergence, the New Teen Titans 2-issue miniseries, providing art to Marv Wolfmann's writing in 2015. Nicola was commissioned by DC in an Artist Spotlight to do an iconic series of 12 covers called Through the Ages, portraying various superheroes and outfits they'd sported throughout their comic book histories, the Nightwing one being especially head-turn worthy in certain circles. Previous Teen Titans History Part 1. Dick Grayson's Robin, Wally West's Kid Flash, and Garth's Aqualad team up to defeat a weather-controlling villain known as Mr. Twister in The Brave and the Bold issue 54 in 1964 by writer Bob Haney and artist Bruno Premiani. They appeared under the name Teen Titans in The Brave and the Bold issue 60 in July 1965, joined by Wonder Woman's younger sister, Wonder Girl, aka Donna Troy, with a big asterisk next to that we'll explain later. Green Arrow's sidekick Roy Harper, aka Speedy, who to be clear is an archer and has 0 super speed-related powers, guest starred in the first Teen Titans series in 1966, written by Bob Haney with art by Nick Cardy, before officially joining the team at issue 19. Aqualad left the same issue, but made later guest appearances with his girlfriend, Aquagirl. The series' original premise had the Teen Titans helping teenagers and answering phone calls for help. The writing attempted to reach the youth culture, then embracing references to performers like the Beatles and Bob Dylan. Issue 20 of the original Teen Titans ran into some controversy with that particular run. The story was originally drawn by Nick Cardy, with young, fresh writers Len Wein and Marv Wolfmann replacing Bob Haney as fill-in writers long before they became comic industry giants. And initially, the issue story was about a bad guy who decided to take control of the anger of the era for African-American youth by manipulating them into committing crimes. The hero, Jericho, turned out to be the brother of one of the African-American gang members. Editor Carmine Infantino refused to publish it as written, deeming the story too edgy, and it was extensively rewritten and redrawn by Neil Adams, with Jericho renamed Joshua, who, unlike Jericho, was a white man, and all African-American or black characters were stripped from the pages. Wolfman would later create a new character, also white, named Jericho in his run on the New Teen Titans. But it was notable at the time because the original conception of Jericho would have introduced DC's first African-American superhero into its pages. Other notable introductions in the opening run include Psychic, Lilith Clay, and DC's actual first African-American superhero introduced in 1970's Teen Titans issue number 26, Malcolm Duncan. Mal Duncan dealt with feelings of unworthiness due to his lack of abilities, eventually getting hands on the mystical Gabriel's Horn, which creates interdimensional portals and vortexes and projects hypersonic blasts, and 6 years into being introduced, would be the second person to take on the Mantle of Guardian, complete with strength-enhancing exoskeleton. Other names Malcolm has gone by have included Vox, the Herald, and Hornblower. The series also saw Beast Boy from Doom Patrol guest star, but be rejected for membership due to being too young, with Hawk and Dove cameoing as well. The character of Mr. Jupiter, who was Lilith's mentor and employer, was introduced as an adult that financially backed the Titans for a brief period. The book was cancelled in 1973 after 43 issues, before publication resumed in 1976 with a 44th issue. The revival introduced the second female African-American superhero, Bumblebee, that was a DC character who could shrink, had wings for flight, and bee-like stingers attached to her wrists, and would eventually marry and have the child of Mal Duncan. Another introduction was Duella Dent, who would go by many aliases, including Harlequin and the Joker's daughter, claiming to be interchangeably the daughter of many Batman-themed villains. She was described as mentally unstable and would rotate between being an ally or enemy of the Titans, often on a whim. Truly one of the more bizarre characters to come out of the Silver Age of comics. A Betty Kane Batgirl led a Teen Titans West team for a couple of issues. The revival was short-lived, with the series cancelled after the 53rd issue in 1978, with the characters in their early 20s realizing they'd outgrown the name Teen Titans and parting ways. This brings us to 1980, where a backup 16-page story in DC Comics presents issue 26. It introduced a new team of Teen Titans, anchored by Robin, Wonder Girl, and Kid Flash, and soon followed by the new Teen Titans issue 1. The series, created by writer Marv Wolfmann and artist George Perez, reintroduced Beast Boy as Changeling, and reintroduced the Victor Stone as Cyborg, the Alien, Starfire, and the Dark Empath, Raven. Raven, an expert manipulator, forms the group to fight her demonic father, Trigon the Terrible, and the team remains together. Wolfmann and Perez, while writer and artist would co-plot the series, George moving to Wolfmann's town only 5 blocks away, so they could get together for lunch and work out a story over a few hours before returning to work. The first run of The New Teen Titans, Volume 1, ran for 40 issues, before DC decided to make things hard to track as a comic book fan. In 1982, Tales of the New Teen Titans, a 4-part limited series by Wolfmann and Perez, detailed the backstories of Cyborg, Raven, Changeling, formerly known as Beast Boy, and Starfire. In 1984, The New Teen Titans, Volume 1, series was renamed Tales of the Teen Titans, with issue 41, while a new concurrently published series named The New Teen Titans, Volume 2, launched with a new issue 1, following the release of Tales of the Teen Titans, issue 44, and annual number 3, the conclusion of the Judas Contract storyline. After both titles ran new stories for a single year, with Tales of the Teen Titans, issues 45 to 58, taking place prior to the events of The New Teen Titans, Volume 2, Issue 1, Tales of the New Teen Titans for issues 59 through 91 became a filler reprint series of the A stories of the older The New Teen Titans Volume 1 issues. Tales of the Teen Titans would officially be cancelled after that 91st issue. Perez left The New Teen Titans Volume 2 after issue 5, but returned temporarily with issue 50, right as the series was named The New Titans, as the characters were no longer teenagers. If anybody's head is hurting after hearing this, all I can say is, welcome to comic books. Trust me, as a teenager who lived in a pre-Wikipedia era, there are 0 explanations that I could find in Australia at the time for these bizarre legacy numberings mixed with title changes, and it left me mightily confused when I get a couple of issues out of a dollar bin of Tales of the Teen Titans, but one would be an original story, and the other would be a reprint of an old The New Teen Titans issue that I already had. Adding to that confusion, in 1986, with both series being sold exclusively to comic stores and removed from newsstands in the US, following outrage from fans in 1986, they started releasing an anthology series called Teen Titans Spotlight, featuring individual members of the Titans in solo stories, often spanning multiple issues, except for two random issues that tied into a massive company-wide crossover event called Millennium. Of note, during this era, in 1984's Tales of the Teen Titans, issue 44, Dick Grayson, now an adult, retires his role as Robin and assumes the persona of Nightwing. This happens during the events of The Judas Contract, which we'll briefly discuss during Beast Boy's bio, and it's considered one of the most iconic Titan storylines, even being adapted for the 2003 animated series Teen Titans. Issue 1 of 1984's The New Teen Titans, Volume 2, created controversy when Grayson and Starfire were depicted in bed together, although it had been established for some time that they were a couple. During this time, Wally West gave up his Kid Flash persona and quit the Titans, and Jericho, a son of frequent recurring villain Deathstroke, joined the team. Also, fun fact during that time, Wolfmann wrote a series of new Teen Titans drug awareness comic books, one of which was financed by the tech company IBM, and one of the other issues was rewritten by the American Soft Drink Industry, a government lobbying group that represented the US's beverage industry. Previously, Teen Titans History Part 2. The series, under the name The New Titans, ran from issue 50 through 130, plus a random issue 0. Perez would provide sketches for a handful of issues, layouts for a couple more, cover inking for 2 issues, then stayed off the book until the series finale, with issue 130 in 1996 providing the cover art. Notable issues include Teen Titans issues 60 and 61, being involved in a 5-part crossover with Batman for a story arc called A Lonely Place of Dying, and along with issue 65, featured the debut of Tim Drake as the third Robin, sales of which had been declining before the latest name change didn't stop with Perez's temporary return to the Titans book. Fearing Wolfmann had become stagnant in his writing, Jonathan Peterson was assigned as editor to the book, with full authority to override Wolfmann in story directions. Among many changes, this saw new character Panther and old villain Deathstroke both join the team. Peterson saw the launch of spin-off book Team Titans, featuring a depowered version of Donna Troy. Peterson left the book during a crossover event between Team Titans and the New Titans, called Total Chaos, leaving Wolfmann to cover and deal with the fallout of Peterson's editorially mandated storylines, including the final breakup between Starfire and Nightwing and the temporary resurrection of Raven as a villain. In the 90s, Wolfmann also had to contend with Nightwing being removed from the series by Batman editorial, probably in preparation for Chuck Dixon's work, which eventually led to Nightwing getting his first and second solo series. The sales on the New Titans collapsed by the mid-90s, hence the reason for cancellation. During Wolfmann's era, some of the most common recurring villains have been Raven's evil demonic father Trigon, Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke, the Terminator, the Fearsome Five, Hive Academy, and the Church of Blood, headed by 7 centuries of family lineage, all called Sebastian Blood, going by the codename Brother Blood. Multiple Sebastian Bloods, all power-hungry priests, have been killed over the decades of Teen Titans and Titans comics, each time the Brother Blood mantle picked up and replaced by his son Sebastian. While the Sebastians have not typically had powers of their own, they are master manipulators with fanatical followings that feed off the faith of his members. Coupled with religious paraphernalia, the Bloods have gained additional abilities. One of the Bloods also had vampiric abilities strengthened by blood. Some versions of the Church of Blood have worshipped Trigon himself. For time purposes, we sadly have to gloss over the Chris Claremont and Walt Simonson non-canon story, The New Teen Titans and the Uncanny X-Men, a rare Marvel and DC crossover book, and in my opinion, the high watermark of those Marvel DC crossovers. You can find copies on eBay to read still, and it's a big high recommend. In 1996, Teen Titans Volume 2 kicked off, written and penciled by Dan Jurgens, with George Perez as inker for the first 15 issues. There was a rumor he wasn't allowed to use any of the existing Titans characters for unknown reasons, so an all-new team, led by a de-aged, teenaged version of Ray Palmer's The Atom, was instead used. The only new character from this run that had any impact was Tony Manetti, aka Argent, though her appearances were sporadic by the early 2010s, and she disappeared after the 2011 Universe reboot. Roy Harper, formerly Speedy, now Arsenal, appeared halfway through the short-lived run, and a contest was held in the letters pages to determine who should join the team. Tim Drake's Robin won the vote, but the Batman editors went, "Oh, no way in hell," and banned his use, so Jurgen was forced to use Captain Marvel Jr. instead. Unsurprisingly, that super popular character's inclusion failed to boost sales, and the series was cancelled. In 1999, a new Titans series written by Devin K. Grayson, or D. Grayson, commenced with Arsenal and Arch migrating over from the failed Teen Titans comic, joined by the original 4 Teen Titans and Starfire, Cyborg, and Changeling, and an additional speedster, Jesse Quick. Simultaneously, the first volume of Young Justice launched, with Tim Drake's Robin, Bart Allen, a speedster called Impulse, and Connor Kent, a clone made from the combined DNA of Superman and Lex Luthor, as the leads. They are shortly joined by Cassandra Sandsmark as a new Wonder Girl, and a couple of the female heroes called Secret and Arrowette, the latter of whom is a different female Archer to the ones folks might be familiar with in the animated show of the same name as the comic. The 2 series culminated in a 2-issue crossover event in 2003 called Titans / Young Justice Graduation Day, which sees both series finish. Out of the Ashes in 2003 came Teen Titans Volume 3, written by Jeff Johns, where Cyborg, Starfire, Raven, and Beast Boy are the mentors of the new team, taking Tim Drake's Robin, Bart Allen, now going by Kid Flash, Cassandra Sandsmark's Wonder Girl, and Connor Kent's Superboy under their wing, hot on the heels of the animated series of the same name launching on Cartoon Network, even though there were differences in lineup. The series was quickly a success, but not without complaints about shifts in personalities and aesthetics, especially for Superboy and Bart Allen. Simultaneously, a comic called Outsiders, previously led by Batman in its first 2 runs, was relaunched for a 3rd time, led by Nightwing, with mostly new characters plus the support of Roy Harper, aka Arsenal. Nightwing deciding that instead of functioning in a reactive capacity like most other superhero teams, this group should act as hunters, tracking down supervillains before they can cause problems. The series would be replaced with Titans Volume 2 in 2008, written by Judd Winnick, and consisting of Nightwing, the Wally West Flash, Donna Troy, Beast Boy, Raven, Cyborg, Roy Harper as Red Arrow, and Starfire as the lineup. In the Teen Titans comics, Superboy and Cassie Sandsmark's Wonder Girl became a couple until, during Infinite Crisis, Superboy was killed by his evil doppelganger, Superboy Prime, with Cyborg severely damaged and Starfire lost in space, and Kid Flash lost in the Speed Force, re-emerging in the Flash uniform and having aged to adulthood. The Teen Titans lineup decimated, Beast Boy and Raven remain the final anchors to the team, recruiting a roster of new members including Ms. Martian, Kid Devil, Zachary Zatara, Ravager, the daughter of Deathstroke, and Bombshell, among others. Robin and Wonder Girl eventually rejoined the Titans. Nicola Scott became temporary artist of the series with Teen Titans issue 88. The roster spun out even further with guest arcs by Static, Damian Wayne's Robin, and Jamie Razor's Blue Beetles, all guest appearing in the lineup. Ravager gets a spin-off series called Terror Titans, which lasts a whole 9 issues. The series concludes with Superboy Prime returning, and a group of former and current Teen Titans have to band together to trap the clone in a metaphysical concept for all eternity. Both series finished in 2011, in time for the New 52 Universe reboot. Previous Teen Titans History Part 3. We're going to skip over the New 52 era. It sucked, they butchered Tim Drake's personality, and a bunch of stuff was randomly retconned or changed for the Titans thanks to all the main Justice League members having only been superheroes for 5 years. That's all you need to take away from the era, for the context of this comic club. Due to the backlash against the removal of the previous incarnations of the Titans when the New 52 reboot came into effect, and the ripple effect it had upon characters such as Nightwing and Donna Troy, DC launched a new miniseries called Titans Hunt, which restored the original 1960s version of the Titans to canon. The series states that all memory of the original Titans was erased by former Teen Titan member, the psychic Lilith, to protect the team from a villain called Mr. Twister. It also alludes to further reality alterations to the DC universe. These are then picked up on in the DC Rebirth Initiative, beginning a week after Titans Hunt, which restores Wally West to canon, along with various aspects of the pre-Flashpoint continuity. This leads into a new Titans series with Dick Grayson's Nightwing as team leader, and a new Teen Titans series with Damian Wayne's Robin as team leader. Both series finished in 2019, replaced in 2021 with the Teen Titans Academy series, the adult generation of Titans consisting of Nightwing, Starfire, Donna, Beast Boy, Cyborg, and Raven, serving as faculty of a new superhero academy designed to mentor the heroes of tomorrow. Concurrently, in the comic book limited series Titans United, the core roster of Titans was joined by new Titans Red Hood, Jason Todd, and the Connor Kent Superboy in place of Cyborg, with no story given for how the roster was assembled. The Titans United and sequel Titans United Blood Pact mini-series were intended as commercial tie-ins to the concurrent Titans TV series, but is set in either the main DC universe or one very much like current DC continuity. I will also say Titans United Blood Pact, beautiful artwork, and I really enjoyed it as a standalone story. Following the events of Dark Crisis and during the run of writer Tom Taylor on Nightwing, Superman approaches Nightwing with the proposition that he serves as the leader of the new superhero team who succeeds the Justice League following their disbanding. This leads to Nightwing unveiling a new Titans tower in Bloodhaven, with the team in the issues we'll be covering tonight, consisting of Dick, the Wally West Flash, Donna Troy, Beast Boy, Cyborg, Raven, and Starfire. Dick Grayson, aka Nightwing. So as a quick Robin timeline recap, Dick Grayson since 1940 was the original incarnation of Robin, Batman's crime-fighting partner. After becoming a young adult, Dick retires his role as Robin and assumes the superhero persona of Nightwing, created by Marv Wolfmann and artist George Perez. It's worth noting that there is overlap in personality and skill sets between the Robins, which will vary depending on the creative team writing them. Generally though, Dick Grayson was the happy-go-lucky, fun Robin that quipped a lot. He was a competent detective with the patience and compassion required for solid leadership skills. Skill-wise, he's known as the best acrobat, gymnast, and aerialist of the Robins. Dick has been romantically linked to many women, most prominently fellow Titan Starfire, and currently romantically linked to Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl or Oracle. As Nightwing, he frequently uses modified eskrima sticks, which are a weapon of Philippines origin, with added grappling hook and taser capabilities. Some versions of the eskrima sticks can connect to convert into a bow staff, as prominently seen in the first Injustice game, where Nightwing is a playable character. For more info on Dick, please consult the John Kent Superman Son of Kal-El Comic Club YouTube upload, or alternatively, perhaps wait for our next year's comic clubs. Ooh. Wally West, aka The Flash. For a more extensive bio about Wally West, check out the bio in the YouTube upload for the John Kent Son of Superman Comic Club that we did earlier in 2024. Summarized, the third Flash was Wally West, introduced in 1959 as Kid Flash. One day while Wally was visiting his cousin Iris West at Barry Allen's CSI lab at the Central City Police Department, Wally was struck by a bolt of lightning and doused in chemicals just like the Barry Allen's Flash was, which infused Wally with the power of a mysterious energy force called the Speed Force. Wally became a member of the Teen Titans using the Kid Flash identity, meeting his best friend Dick Grayson. Following Barry Allen's death in 1985, Wally West adopted the main Flash identity. Wally is an engineer who is married to Linda Park West, and they have 3 children together, twins Jay West and Iris West, the second and younger brother Wade West. Garth, aka Aqualad, aka Tempest. Garth with no last name, created by Robert Bernstein and artist Ramona Freydon, first appeared in Adventure Comics issue 269 in 1960 as the first character to use Aqualad codename as the teenage sidekick and protege of his adopted father Aquaman. Garth is a full-blooded Atlantean prince from the pacifist idealist tribe. Atlantean superstitious nature made them believe infant Garth was connected to an evil lineage due to having purple eyes and was cast out, but found by Aquaman. He became Aquaman's sidekick and eventually came to befriend several other sidekicks as a founding member of the Teen Titans. As Aqualad, Garth was given to expressions such as great guppies, suffering sardines, leaping lionfish, and suffering snails. As with all other Atlanteans, Garth dehydrates at a faster rate than humans. Also, as a teenager, Garth met and fell in love with Aquagirl, called Tula, the impetuous and feisty Atlantean ward of Aquaman's predecessor, King Juvor. They dated for years, aiding Aquaman as defenders of the undersea realms, until Tula's death at the hands of Chemo during the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Grief-stricken, Garth left Atlantis, rejoined the Teen Titans on numerous occasions, and saw his relationship with Aquaman become violent and strained. His relationship with Tula was incorporated into his appearance as a recurring secondary character in Young Justice to help flesh out the Calder Aqualad's backstory. Sometime after Crisis on Infinite Earths, Garth vanished and reappeared in another dimension, where Garth was taught by the dead king of Atlantis, Atlan, to use powers Garth did not know he possessed as an alleged descendant of an evil ancient Atlantean demigod, including elemental powers which allowed him to heat and cool water and create whirlpools, as well as fiery purple blasts of energy from his eyes. Towards the end of his training, Garth was scarred at a ritual, leaving 2 pronounced scars over his right eye, which healed into tattoos once he had conquered his inner turmoil. Atlan told Garth that the final part of his training was to complete the ritual that would grant him full access to his ancestral magical power, and thus Garth had to return to the idealist tribe's home in the hidden valley near Atlantis. Garth returned to the normal DC universe at nearly the same time that he had left, although he was approximately 3 years older upon his return. Returning to the Hidden Valley, just the sheer proximity to the ancient pool of ancestral magic allowed Garth to tap into the power, and charged with the purple energy, he recreated his costume out of the idealist red and black flag and renamed himself Tempest. Once considered among the weaker members of the Titans with his magical powers awakened, so did his potential of becoming a powerful sorcerer. This version of Garth was later killed by Black Lanterns, and his corpse converted into a Black Lantern, eventually destroyed before the 2011 universe reboot. After the New 52 reboot, Garth was not reintroduced for a couple of years until Mira put together an elite squad to hunt down Aquaman, which also included King Shark. The reboot repurposed Garth's purple eyes to denote a line of Atlanteans whose powers included having an encyclopedic memory of Atlantean history. The Titans Hunt 2015 to 2016 miniseries later established Garth was a part of the Teen Titans several years ago, along with Robin, Speedy, Wonder Girl, and others, but unlike his teammates, had his memories of their time together erased for his own safety. After the events of DC Rebirth, Garth is once again part of the older Titans team, which includes Nightwing, Arsenal, Donna, Troy, Lilith, Clay, and the newly returned Wally West. Wally's return helps the group recover their memories, establishing that they have all been friends since forming the Teen Titans as children. The World's Finest Teen Titans, a 2023 miniseries, revealed that Garth is sexually fluid, and dealing with this as a teenager led to problems in his romantic relationship with Donna Troy, though they didn't really scrape beyond the surface of inferring it. Garth gives Jackson Hyde, aka Calder, the Aqualad mantle, after Calder learns his father is Black Manta, to reassure Jackson, and because Garth is ready to take on his remembered legacy under the codename Tempest once again. The post-2016 Rebirth comics also re-established Garth dating Tula. As an extra trivia point, he was voiced by Will Wheaton of Star Trek fame in the Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go animated series, and Yuri Lowenthal in Young Justice. Garth also had a small role in the live-action Titan series on Netflix. Donna Troy. The concept of Wonder Girl and Donna Troy were not originally one and the same, and this creates one of the messiest comic history backstories for a character that I've ever seen, give or take Hawkgirl and Hawkman, but let's not get into them today. The creation of Wonder Girl can be attributed to 1954's Seduction of the Innocent. Yes, the same one you've heard about many times now because of how it created the homophobic comic code. Frederick Wertham, who wrote the paper, somehow missed the main writer of the Diana Prince-led Wonder Woman comic in the 40s being into BDSM, incorporating elements into his writing, from Wonder Woman's main weapon being a lasso that ties people up to the number of times Wonder Woman and others are depicted in states of bondage. Frederick did, however, make accusations of the Wonder Woman comic promoting lesbianism, with the island of women living together without men. DC Comics sought to make the adventures of Wonder Woman appear more wholesome and family-friendly. They introduced an impossible, younger version of Wonder Woman, appearing alongside the adult Wonder Woman, in addition to a Wonder Tot called the Wonder Family. The publication later stopped referring to Wonder Girl as a younger, time-placed version of Wonder Woman, but simultaneously didn't offer any in-story cues explaining her existence. In 1965, Wonder Girl disappeared out of the Wonder Woman book. Near simultaneously, a new Wonder Girl was created by Bob Haney and Bruno Premiani, first appearing in 1965 in The Brave and the Bold issue 60, though personality-wise she was near identical to the version who disappeared from the Wonder Woman comics. This was probably in large part to either the writers or editorial not realizing the OG Wonder Girl wasn't technically a sidekick unlike Robin, Aqualad, or Kid Flash. It was not until 1969 that this Wonder Girl would be given the actual name Donna Troy by Marv Wolfmann. In pre-crisis Earth-1 history, Donna Troy was originally written as the adopted sister of the Earth-1 Wonder Woman, who rescued Donna from a fire that made Donna an orphan. Donna was then raised on Paradise Island and was given purple ray treatments that enabled her to have powers similar to those of Wonder Woman. Donna's origin is expanded in the 1984 tale, Who is Donna Troy? Robin investigates the events surrounding the long-ago fire after finding Donna's doll in a box from a coal bin. He learns that Donna's birth mother was a dying unwed human teen who had placed her for adoption. After Donna's adoptive human father had been killed in a work-related accident, her adoptive mother was forced to place her for adoption again, unable to raise the toddler because of mounting expenses. However, Donna became victim to a child-selling racket, which ended with the racketeer's death in a furnace explosion at the fire. With Robin's help, Donna is reunited with her adoptive stepmother, who had since remarried and given birth to 2 children. With the rebooting of the modern-day Wonder Woman history following what happened to her in Crisis on Infinite Earths in 1985, Donna Troy's history was later rescripted. In 1985's Crisis on Infinite Earths, DC rebooted Wonder Woman's history, but not the new Teen Titans history, so Donna became a public hero before Diana ever left Themyscira as a consequence, and they did another origin to accommodate that, severing Donna's ties with Wonder Woman and the Amazons. In the storyline, Who is Wonder Girl, featured in 1988's The New Titans, issues 50 through 54, mythological deities called the Titans of Myth reveal that a mythological titan called Rhea rescued a young Donna from a fire. Rhea is an actual Greek mythological figure who is the daughter of Earth goddess Gaia and sky god Uranus. Rhea, in real-world mythology, is also the mother to well-known gods like Hera, Poseidon, Zeus, and Hades. Back to Teen Titans lore, in the late 80s, Donna was one of 12 orphans raised by the Titans of Myth as Titan Seeds, prophesied to be the Titans of Myth's eventual saviors. The Seeds had been given superhuman powers and named after ancient Greek cities, called Troy. Donna, like the others, had eventually been stripped of her memories of her time with the Titans of Myth and reintroduced into humankind to await her destiny. One of the Seeds went mad, rediscovering her memories, and wipes all other Titan Seeds out of existence besides Donna. Anyway, the Seeds are relatively unimportant, but the new origin meant Donna changes her identity from Wonder Girl to Troya and adopts a new hairstyle and costume incorporating mystical gifts from the Titans of Myth. To see that costume, please see the right side of this current slide. The seeds have been given superhuman powers and named after ancient Greek cities. Called Troy, Donna, like the others, had eventually been stripped of her memories in her time with the Titans of Myth and reintroduced into humankind to await her destiny. Sparta had retained her memories, and the knowledge had eventually driven her mad. Killing her fellow seeds to collect their powers and destroy the Titans of Myth, Sparta is ultimately defeated by Donna, and the only other seed left alive, Athens of Kraken. In the New Titans issue 55, in 1989, Donna changes her identity from Wonder Girl to Troya and adopts a new hairstyle and costume, incorporating mystical gifts from the Titans of Myth. Donna was adopted by Hippolyta in both the 1945 to 1985 Earth 1 continuity and in the post-1985 till 2011 New Earth comic continuity. Donna, at the age of 19, working as a professional photographer, began a relationship with a 29-year-old history professor, Terry Long. Terry, with a very 80s afro, has partial custody of Jennifer, his biological daughter from a previous marriage. This would not be the last large age gap romance Wolfmann would write in his High-Writing Titans, and the reception to the character, rumored by many to be a writer's self-insert, was that he was annoying, creepy, and too old. Regardless, Terry and Donna get married, and Donna gives birth to son Robert. Terry divorces Donna, filing a restraining order, and petitions and wins full custody of their son Robert, citing Donna's superheroine lifestyle as being too dangerous to expose his children to. In fairness to Terry, there was a whole plotline about a grown-up Robert coming back from the future, going by the name Lord Chaos, having inherited godlike powers from Donna, and birthing himself, that Donna had to thwart by depowering herself prior to giving birth to Robert. Robert and the kids would appear only sporadically across the next decade before being annihilated in a brutal car crash where Terry, blinded by a truck's high beams, drives his car through a guardrail at the top of a cliff and plummets his family to their death in a fiery car wreck explosion. Donna, going by the codename Darkstar, allocated to a group of intergalactic policemen that in a relationship with the Green Lantern of the 90s, Kyle Rayner, broke off the relationship, being devastated by her loss and needing to re-find herself. Donna became a Darkstar after the Titans of Myth refused to repower her, Donna gaining the standard exomantle all members of the Intergalactic Police Force wore, granting her superhuman strength, speed, and agility. The exomantle also possessed a personal force field for protection against physical impact and energy attacks, flight, and twin laser units firing energy blasts. Luckily, she'd meet her dead husband and child again. No sarcasm. As undead villains resurrected as Black Lanterns during the Blackest Night event, Donna ended up having to re-kill both of them, snapping her own infant son's neck to release them back to the afterlife. Oh, isn't that a sweet reunion? Donna also had romantic entanglements with Roy Harper, an archer who has gone by the codename Speedy, Red Arrow, and Arsenal, the Garth Aqualad, and a second marriage to Coesus, a titan of myth and god of the moon. Editorial has turned down writer suggestions to pair Donna with Dick Grayson in the past romantically. In the late 1990s, they retconned her origin again, with Donna created by the Amazon sorceress Magala as a magical duplicate of the young Princess Diana of Themyscira, a nod to the original Wonder Girl, to be a playmate for Diana, who was previously the only child on the island. However, Donna was soon kidnapped by the Dark Angel, a World War II villainess and sworn enemy of Queen Hippolyta, Diana's mother, not to be confused with Donna's previous Dark Star codename. Dark Angel was later revealed to be an alternate timeline version of Donna, who thought the girl was Diana, and has no connection to the Jessica Alba show, FYI. Dark Angel cursed Donna to live endless variants of a life characterized by suffering, with her life being restarted and erased from the world's memory when Donna was at her lowest. Even Donna would forget her past lives until the moment at which Dark Angel would arrive to restart her life, at which point she would immediately recall all of her past suffering. With the help of Wonder Woman, Hippolyta, and Wally West, the young people who remembered the previous version of Donna, Donna was restored. However, she also regained her powers, presumably because this was how Wally remembered her. Initially, she was concerned that she wasn't the same Donna, but an idealized form based on Wally's memories. She has since accepted that this is not the case. Donna is killed by a Superman android in 2003's Titan/Young Justice, Graduation Day Issue 3, to return in the 4-issue miniseries DC Special, The Return of Donna Troy, with a backstory mixed from bits of her previous origins. They then remixed her origin again, using previous origins during the 2006 One Year Later event. In 2010, Donna joined the Justice League of America. Then in 2011, they wiped Donna from existence due to de-aging Wonder Woman as part of this reset, eventually reintroducing Donna as an Amazon, created by the sorcerer Derino, as an attempt to usurp Diana's place as queen. Diana defeats Donna, and Donna sets about a period of soul-searching. Meanwhile, in the Titans Hunt storyline, which seeks to retroactively establish the history of the Teen Titans in the New 52, Donna is shown as having been a Teen Titan, working alongside Titans co-founders such as Dick Grayson and Garth, until an encounter with the telepathic supervillain Mr. Twister resulted in the Titans' memories being erased. In the Wonder Woman series, Donna struggles with her rage and anger, and after being killed in a battle, is chosen by Zeus to replace the Fates, making Donna a new embodiment of fate. In the last issue of Titans Hunt, Donna confirms that she is the fate of the gods, but does not reconcile her history depicted in Titans Hunt with her creation depicted in Wonder Woman. Post-2016 has been retconned that Donna was created out of clay to destroy Wonder Woman, but the Amazons later gave her false memories of being an orphan rescued by Wonder Woman. This allows Donna to be more than a living weapon and to establish a stable life. Though Donna was heartbroken by the revelation, she was supported by her Titans colleagues who affirmed their friendship. As far as I can tell, this is the latest origin for Donna, although given a reboot, and I'm sure they'll do something to make it even messier. Donna's career as a photographer is still intact, as of 2024 as well. Donna's current power set includes superhuman strength, speed, and reflexes, accelerated healing factor, flight, and is an expert combatant. Her weapons include use of the lasso of persuasion, indestructible powerful bracelet, sword, and shield. The lasso of persuasion glows blue, and like Wonder Woman's lasso, is quite durable. It also has the ability to force anyone within its confines to do Donna's bidding if her willpower is greater than others. Her pre-crisis lasso did not have the magical ability of persuasion. Starfire. Created by Marv Wolfmann and George Perez, Starfire debuted in a preview story inserted into DC Comics Presents issue 26 in 1980. Within the main continuity of the DC universe, Starfire's origin is that of Princess Coriander, an alien princess from the planet Tamaran in the Vega system, and heir to the Tamaran throne until she was ousted in a coup by her older sister, Commander, also known as Blackfire, whom in pre-2011 history sold Starfire into slavery after giving a rival empire in the Citadel the plans to take over Tamaran. In post-2011 history, Starfire is sold into slavery by her sister to save Tamaran from the Citadel. Subjected to torture and sexual exploitation, Coriander would later receive additional powers following experimentation by alien scientists. Escaping her captors, the character would find herself on Earth, befriended the Teen Titans, becoming a frequent member of the team over the years. As a Tamaranian, new languages are learnt through physical touch with someone who knows the language. Starfire opting to kiss Dick Grayson to learn Earth English. Starfire's Tamaranian physiology converts ultraviolet radiation into energy, grants superhuman strength, speed, durability, endurance, and flight. The experimentation Starfire underwent granted her the ability to project energy and heat, referred to as starbolts. She is also a highly trained warrior, proficient in hand-to-hand combat, weaponry, leadership, and spaceflight. Starfire has appeared on several other teams, including The Outsiders, The Outlaws with Roy Harper and Jason Todd's Red Hood, The Titans, and Justice League Odyssey. While on Earth, the character has been depicted as a model under the alias Corianders, occasionally the leader of the Teen Titans, and was the principal of Teen Titans Academy during a period in which the Titans helped train future superheroes of the DC Universe. Starfire has been married twice to Tamaranian men, once to Prince Karis to steal a peace treaty, and once to General Faizon out of love. Karis died in battle, while Faizon died trying to defend New Tamaran against the Sun Eater. Coriander was frequently romantically involved with Robin, Dick Grayson, even making it to the altar before Raven murdered the priest who had pronounced the couple husband and wife. The relationship was already on unsteady ground after Raven came in, with Coriander fearing that Dick was rushing into marriage and also concerned about the anti-alien sentiments that sprang up in response to the news of the impending nuptials. After some time apart, after their relationship fell apart, the characters slept with one another when a villain manipulated their emotions. After regaining their senses, Dick told Tori that while he would always love her, he wasn't in love with her. Dick's currently in a relationship with Barbara Gordon, and while there was once jealousy between the two women in the 2000s Titans run, Taylor's Nightwing run has established that, in the past, Barbara has trusted Corey with Dick's life. The character has always been sex-positive, in recent years developed to be polyamorous and pansexual, though there are still issues around the character being objectified for the male gaze by male creative teams, especially in the post-2011 era, and a troubling pattern of passing her around between her male teammates as a romance interest. Beast Boy. Garfield Logan, or Garth for short, was created by writer Arnold Drake and artist Bob Brown, depicted as a green shapeshifter who possesses the ability to transform into any animal he chooses. The character first appeared in 1965's Doom Patrol issue 99. He has gone by the codenames Changeling and Beast Boy over the years, though he's the second person to have the Beast Boy codename, the first being a minor character in the 1960s Legion of Superheroes comics as part of the Legion of Super Outlaws. As a young child, Garfield Logan lived with his scientist parents in Africa, who were developing reverse evolution to bring back extinct creatures. Garfield contracted a fictitious rare illness called Sakusha, or the Green Fever, which is lethal to every species except the West African green monkey. To save his life, his father used an untested science experiment to change him into a West African green monkey for 24 hours so that the virus could die out. The serum had the unintended effect of permanently turning his skin, eyes, and hair green, and granting him the ability to metamorph into any animal of his choice, which also shared his pigmentation. His parents later died in a boating accident. To this day, Garfield believes he could have prevented their deaths after he is rescued from two kidnappers who forced him to use his powers to help them in their crimes. Garfield is left under the care of a court-appointed guardian who starts embezzling from Garfield's estate bequeathed to him by his late parents. To avoid exposure of their embezzlement, a villain is hired to kill Garfield, but is stopped by the Doom Patrol. Elastigirl and her husband Steve Dayton expose the embezzlement and adopt Garfield. Garfield later joins the Doom Patrol, his uniform including a purple cowl, and he takes on the codename Beast Boy. Later, Beast Boy is deeply affected by the apparent deaths of the Doom Patrol. He later uses both his lime skin and shape-shifting powers to play an extraterrestrial character in the science fiction television series Space Trek 2020, and that show is soon cancelled due to lawsuits from both Star Trek and Space 1999. Garfield joins the West Coast team of the Teen Titans, known as Titans West, and is later part of the new Teen Titans assembled by Dick Grayson's Robin and Raven. By this time, Garfield has taken the name Changeling on instead, as the embezzler of his money mocked the name Beast Boy so much that Garfield thought the name change was in order, though in the early 2000s, Garfield had migrated back to using Beast Boy without a obvious explanation. Gar remains with various incarnations of the team and forms a close friendship with Cyborg. Garfield's character is often used as comic relief through his joking and wisecracking. However, this is only a facade, as he uses humor to hide a deep inner pain. Logan has suffered many hardships in his life. Other notable incidents include, during his time with the new Teen Titans, Garfield's stepfather was discovered to have been driven mad by the helmet which was central to his powers, and during the Judas contract, when Garfield fell in love with Terra, a girl with Earth-manipulating powers and fellow Teen Titans member, she turned out to be a spy working for the assassin Deathstroke the Terminator, and she was eventually killed. Despite all his struggles, Garfield is friendly, humorous, and upbeat. He considers the Titans to be his family, and the people to whom he will always be closest. Though he often grapples with being taken seriously and an inferiority complex, Garfield loves and trusts his former teammates completely. It's worth noting for anybody that wants to check out the Wolfmann-Perez era of Teen Titans that while a lot of good stories are told, and it's considered a high watermark of superhero storytelling in the 20th century, Gar in those comics is largely insufferable by modern standards, relentlessly hitting on the female characters, ignoring them when they turn down his advances. If his behavior were to occur today, he'd have been labeled a sex pest. The most persistent almost relationship Beast Boy has been with Raven, though up until shortly before this Titans run, Raven had always kept Gar at arm's length in order to protect him from her. There's been multiple times where Beast Boy has had to grapple with mutations to his abilities, including in the late 90s, where he could suddenly morph into more than just any animal, also able to morph into non-Earth-based life forms, both extraterrestrial and demonic too, and in the 2011 reboot, where they made Beast Boy red instead of green, because of a relation to the Red, the extra-dimensional power source of Animal Man's abilities, though his change from red to green between series happened without explanation. There is a footnote about Beast Boy losing an eye from earlier events Dark Crisis and Infinite Earths. This was where Deathstroke shot out Beast Boy's eye at point-blank range. Beast Boy was eventually able to regrow the eye back, being a shapeshifter, but there was psychological trauma and fallout that he had to work through in order to accept the healing of his old wound. Beast Boy is one of the most frequently used Teen Titans in various adapted media, including, but not limited to, voiced by Greg Sipes in the 2003 Teen Titans animated series and Teen Titans Go spin-off, appeared in Batman the Brave and the Bold, has a large supporting role in the Young Justice animated series, though in that show he gets his powers from an emergency blood infusion from Ms. Martian, and in the live-action series was portrayed by Ryan Potter. Raven. Created by Marv Wolfmann and George Perez, Raven debuted in a preview story inserted into DC Comics Presents issue number 26 in 1980. Raven, who also goes by the name Rachel Roth, is the daughter of the powerful red-skinned and horned demon Trigon and the human Arella, possesses a supernatural lineage that grants her remarkable abilities as an empath, and she can sense emotions and manipulate her soul self, which takes the form of her namesake, a raven. Afraid of what Trigon had in store for their daughter, Raven's mother, Arella, sometimes referred to as Angela, took her daughter and fled to the dimension of Azarath, which was beyond Trigon's reach, where she named the child Rachel. Over time, the monks of that realm trained Rachel to control her powers and overcome her father's influence. When Trigon finally found her again, Rachel fled from Azarath to Earth in order to protect her mother and teachers. Rachel was the person responsible for assembling the team in Marv Wolfmann and George Perez's first issue of the New Teen Titans issue number 1, recruiting superheroes to fight her father Trigon. She initially approached the Justice League for help, but they refused her on the advice of Zatanna, who sensed her demonic parentage. Teen Titans and Titans comics have had a rinse-repeat cycle of Raven and the Titans defeating Trigon, giving Raven fleeting periods of time to experience emotions uninhibited without fear of Trigon using them to exploit her. As a result, Raven's personality is usually emotionally subdued compared to her more vocally passionate teen Titans. Trigon always manages to rear his ugly head again, though sometimes with assistance from Brother Blood and his minions. Raven's body is often used as a vessel for Trigon to try and possess, sometimes subtly with physical manifestations being limited to an altered hairline and hollowed-out cheekbones, other times more drastic with full possession, extra eyes, and red skin, emulating Trigon's natural hue emerging. To clarify, Trigon is an incredibly powerful demon and celestial conqueror who typically likes to have one air rule over each conquered planet, with Raven, his only daughter, planned as his placeholder for Earth. You can see an image of Trigon from the animated 2003 Teen Titans series down the bottom of the current slide. Raven's body is destroyed during one of these Trigon defeats, and her spirit self, in the shape of Raven, travels the cosmos for a bit before being bound during the 2003 Teen Titans comic book run to the body of a teenage girl by Brother Blood, and the Church of Blood seeking to control her to get into Trigon once again. Despite her lineage and the ominous predictions associated with her connection to Trigon, Raven becomes a prominent member of the different Teen Titans and Titans lineups, where recognized for her expertise in mysticism and stands out as one of the team's more formidable members. The character also serves as a member of other teams of the DC Universe, including the Justice League, Sentinels of Magic, Teen Titans Academy, and the Justice League Dark. For those looking for modernized alt-universe explorations of Raven, Beast Boy, and the other Titans, I suggest checking out Cami Garcia and Gabrielle Piccolo's Teen Titans graphic novels. Raven has also appeared in the 2003 animated series voiced by famous voice actor Tara Strong, who is also renowned for voicing Harley Quinn and Batgirl in a multitude of projects, the Powerpuff Girls, Timmy and the Fairly OddParents, one of the Rugrats, among many other roles. In the animated series, Raven often invokes that via the charm Azarath Metreon Zinthos, which allows her to activate several powers. Azarath Metreon Zinthos, including telekinesis, teleportation, and safely phasing through solid objects and fire, which are all tied to her emotions. She's also been portrayed in the live-action Titan series by Aussie actor Tegan Croft. Cyborg. Created by Marv Wolfmann and George Perez, Cyborg debuted in a preview story and started into DC Comics Presents issue 26 in 1980. Victor Stone is the son of Silas Stone and Eleanor Stone. Scientists used him as a test subject for various intelligence enhancements projects. While these treatments were ultimately successful and Victor's IQ subsequently grew to genius levels, he grows to resent his treatment. Victor rebelled against his parents by pursuing athletics, especially getting into football. This was until one day, visiting his parents' lab where an interdimensional access experiment goes awry, an aggressive gelatinous creature gets pulled through, killing Victor's mother and severely injuring Victor before his father was able to send the creature back to its native dimension. With Victor near death from the incident, Silas is driven to take advantage of his prototype medical prosthetic research to treat Victor. Unfortunately, Victor only regains consciousness after the extensive artificial limbs and implants were installed in his body without his consent. Victor was horrified at the discovery of the metallic components, which involve most of the left side of his head and face, and enraged, tells his father that Victor would rather have died than be victim of his father's manipulations. Although his bitterness remained for some time, Victor eventually calmed down enough to successfully adjust to his implants physically. He found himself rejected by the public because of his implants, including his girlfriend, who would later thoughtlessly blurt out that she would have preferred if he had died, instead of being in the cyborg state. When one of Victor's shadier friends tries to manipulate Victor into participating in a terrorist attack on the United Nations, Victor decided to equip himself with these weaponized attachments and stops the attack, taking on the codename Cyborg in the process. Originally known as a member of the Teen Titans, Cyborg was established as a founding member of the Justice League in DC's 2011 reboot of its comic book titles, replacing Martian Manhunter. This was because Jeff Johns, with the 2011 reboot, had re-established Barry Allen and Hal Jordan as the prominent Flash and Green Lantern, which meant John Stewart wasn't going to be on the premier Justice League team, and Martian Manhunter, who was deemed to have been too similar a power set to Superman, never mind a sort of Bruce Timm cartoon balance, having the two in the titular lineup just fine for years. And it probably wasn't great optics that their sole character of color was also going to be an alien, because there's a problematic trend of token characters of color in superherodom and sci-fi genres also being extraterrestrial. Jeff Johns was a major fan of the Super Friends cartoon in his youth, which had Robin and Cyborg as secondary team members in some of its later-day iterations, and Cyborg had name brand recognition. Thanks to the Teen Titans cartoon of 2003 that sold merch in a way few, if no other, black DC characters were doing. He also had a diverse enough power set to contribute something different to the lineup power-wise. With the 2011 reboot, they also rejig his origins, so the experimental tech Silas Stone infuses his son Victor with includes nanites and alien new gods technology, which would give Cyborg the ability to create boom tubes for teleportation, using the same teleportation technology that the New Gods mother and father boxes use. This allowed the creative team to power up Cyborg, while also tying Cyborg's origins into the dark side ruler of the planet Apocalypse, a enemy of the New Gods, thus personalizing upcoming storylines for Cyborg at the time involving Darkseid that they had planned. Cyborg made his live-action debut in the television series Smallville, portrayed by the late Lee Thompson Young, while Jovan Wade portrays Cyborg in the television series Doom Patrol and in the fourth season of Titans. In animation, famous voice actor Carrie Payton, a name connected to the games like Stray Gods and Metal Gear Solid 4, as well as voicing Wasabi in the Big Hero 6 animated series, has been the most prominent recurring voice actor for Cyborg, starting in the 2003 Teen Titans animated series, and then has continued to do so across multiple other projects in both animated shows, movies, and video games. The one notable time Payton has been involved in a DC project where he was not voicing Cyborg was in Young Justice, where he voiced more than 10 different black male characters, including the Calder version of Aqualad, who is a major character in the show. This wasn't an issue until seasons 3 and 4 introduced Zeno Robinson as the voice of Cyborg. Then suddenly you had a new voice of Cyborg talking to all these characters voiced by the iconic voice of Cyborg. Really destroyed the immersion in those scenes for me personally. Other prominent voices of Cyborg have included Ghostbusters' Ernie Hudson in 1985's Superpowers Team Galactic Guardians, Phil Lamar in 2019's DC Superhero Girls, and in Uh-Oh territory, Seth Green in a Robot Chicken DC comic special. During the course of these Titans comics, Cyborg splits his time between Bloodhaven and Detroit before temporarily returning to his hometown when he learns of his father's death from a heart attack. There was a 6-issue Cyborg miniseries in 2023 that ran alongside these issues we're covering tonight, with Silas Stone's consciousness copied into an android to help Victor take down an AI villain called Solace. The solo Cyborg series helps Victor find a newfound acceptance of his life and his abilities. Perhaps tellingly, Victor has had few memorable love interests once becoming Cyborg, dating teacher Sarah Sims, Dr. Sarah Charles, a star lab scientist, and went on a date with Zatanna that never really went anywhere. In Teen Titans Go, he starts a relationship with the supervillain Jinx. Solo Cyborg stories have tended to struggle to ever move past telling iterations of the family trauma that affects Victor inflicted by Silas, or at least anything particularly memorable. Plot summary. Titans, 2023, Issue 1. Wally West has had a bullet penetrate his heart and has only seconds to live. Fortunately, he can do a lot in seconds. He runs home and tells his family he loves them, then runs to the Flash Museum. He gets on the cosmic treadmill and runs fast enough to break the time barrier, launching himself into the past. For those unaware, back in the 1961 Flash comic, Barry Allen built the cosmic treadmill so that he could travel through time using his super speed, using the treadmill to tap into the cosmic rays given off by the Speed Force, and was coordinated with radioactive pulses from a cosmic ray clock. The treadmill has been used for time travel by various Speed Force members and users many times over the decades. The Titans officially move into the new Titans Tower, built in Bloodhaven, which will serve as their relocated headquarters and home. Beast Boy and Raven are sleeping together. Dick and Donna visit Garth, aka Tempest. Tempest declines to join the team as he is focused on the constant environmental degradation of the sea and told his friends that he has joined up with a new partner who can do what the Titans can't. Wally is also not present as he planned to continue to live with his family while working with the Titans. Just before they enter, they receive a call from Oracle, aka Barbara Gordon, that Titano is attacking a nuclear power station and it is minutes from meltdown. They boom tube over, and Beast Boy transforms into a giant prehistoric Tamaranian predator to battle the Super Ape while Cyborg dives down into the core to avert the meltdown. The others evacuate the plant workers. Versions of Titano have existed since Adventure Comics in 1959, often with wildly different origins and appearances. Typically, though, Titano is a giant ape that shoots green eye beams, sometimes infused with kryptonite. A company of soldiers led by Peacemaker arrive on the scene. For those wanting more on the comic history of Peacemaker, I suggest revisiting the YouTube upload of the Comic Club, where we covered the early issues of the Jamie Ray's 2006 Blue Beetle run. Peacemaker orders his men to shoot Titano, but Nightwing stops him as Beast Boy lures Titano away from the plant, and then Donna and Starfire knock him unconscious. Titano is airlifted away by the military, and Peacemaker resentfully tells them that the President has ordered them to share information that Titano was just one in a series of seemingly random attacks designed to cause major ecological damage. Against his will, he extends an offer from the President for them to work directly for the US government, but they flatly refuse, saying they plan to work in the interests of the entire world, not just one country. They teleport away, but Nightwing tells Peacemaker that they don't have to have the antagonistic relationship that he had with Justice League, and they are willing to coordinate and share information. After they leave, Peacemaker calls Amanda Waller and tells her that the Titans refused the offer just as she predicted. For those curious where the Peacemaker and Amanda Waller story goes, I suggest reading Titans Beast World by Tom Taylor and Suicide Squad Dream Team by Nicole Maines. Those two series then culminate in the mini-series Absolute Power by Mark Waid and Dan Mora, which ends the Dawn of DC 22-month-long initiative. I haven't finished Absolute Power yet, but of what I've read so far, Absolute Power is one of the better written and straightforward crossover events that DC has done in years. Anyway, the Titans return to the tower and find a spot of blood at the entrance. They head inside and follow a trail of bloody footprints down into the main computer room, where they find Wally's body and the words, "Solve it," on every screen. Nicola Scott got to update the designs for half the cast and found it a particular treat to update Donna and Corey. No shields or swords for Donna because she's a superhero, so unless she's slaying a dragon, she doesn't need a sword. I suspect Cyborg, Wally, and Dick, being the ones with solo series around the times Titans started, were designed by artists on those books, and Nicola had to emulate their styles in this book. With the Starfire design used in this Titans volume, Nicola looked back to the Perez and Wolfmann era design and wanted to capture the big hair of that era as opposed to the sleeker hair design she'd sported in the last decade or so, but couldn't do a perm like the original design, although apparently during the rough design phase she did try a few designs of the perm. Nicola settled on a hairstyle that felt more adult and practical, but a bit cool and unexpected for Starfire. Costume-wise, it was important to both Nicola and Tom to modernize the costume from the Wolfmann era one, which meant closing the boob window. Trivia. Apparently Tom Taylor pitched the Wally murder mystery plot before he started writing Deceased, which was in 2019, for a completely different book pitch that never happened. So when he got the Titans book, he asked DC editorial, "Can I finally do this murder Wally pitch?" According to SDCC interviews, Wally is Tom's favourite Flash. Titans 2023, Issue 2. Flashback to the old team in the past, including the Archer Roy Harper, aka Speedy, who was Green Arrow's sidekick. Roy, who was also used to go by the name Arsenal, is more commonly referred to as Red Arrow. In the present day, the Titans are horrified to find Wally's dead body in the tower. Nightwing calls Wally's home to tell Linda that he is dead, but to Dick's surprise, Wally himself answers and runs to the tower, alive and well. They autopsy the body and determine that the dead Wally is most likely a version of him from the future who travelled back in time to get the Titans to solve and prevent his murder before it happened. Before they can discuss it further, Oracle calls them and tells them that a large portion of the Borneo rainforest has been obliterated by a mysterious energy blast, and a forest fire is spreading through the remaining forest. Wally is about to run over and fight the fire, but Nightwing refuses to let him go, as the dead version of him had traces of wood smoke and ashes on him, and it's very possible that he was killed while fighting the same fire. He says he and Wally will stay to investigate the murder and sends the others to stop the fire. The away-team boom tube to Borneo, where Raven and Cyborg teleport water out of a nearby reservoir to douse the flames. Once the fire is out, Cyborg scans the blast crater and determines that a Tamaranian starbolt caused the devastation. Later, back at the tower, the Titans are shocked to see the new leader of the Church of Blood being interviewed on a talk show. The new leader has rebranded the cult as the Church of Eternity and calls himself Brother Eternity rather than Brother Blood. He reveals his plan to take the Church mainstream and announces a new direction. The Church will colonize other habitable worlds around the universe to ensure the survival of the human species, funded by donations. He admits that the Church has been a force for evil in the past, but insists they have changed, and reveals that Tempest has chosen to join them. As a piece of trivia, Nicola's art process each day is to start a new page, doing a couple of scenes, then goes back to finish partially finished pages she'd previously been working on. Titans 2023, Issue 3. Nightwing and Beast Boy break into the Church of Blood, looking for proof that Brother Eternity isn't who he claims to be. Beast Boy suggests that it's possible that the Church has actually changed, but he appears to be quickly proven wrong when they look down into the main hall and see a priest about to sacrifice a woman to Trigon. They jump down to save her, and the cultists jump into the pool of blood, gaining super strength. Nightwing calls the others to come and help, and Wally insists on coming along, despite Cyborg determining that his future counterpart was murdered at some point in the next 48 hours. The Titans boom tube in, and Tempest finds himself running in from elsewhere in the church. They defeat the cultists, and Garth finds Brother Eternity bound and gagged to the corner. He claims that the cultists were hardliners who were unhappy with his new direction and attempted to overthrow him. He says that he will hand them over to the proper authorities, and even asks Raven to make sure that the pool of blood can never be used again, insisting his plans to reform the church are genuine. The Titans ask Garth to leave for them, but he says he wishes to stay with the church, although his friends respect his decision. They warn Brother Eternity they will be watching him. Back at the tower, Wally tells the others that while they were talking, he searched the church and found a mysterious rock, then brought it back to the tower. They examine the stone, and Raven says it is not from hell, and Starfire realizes it is a meteor. Back at the church, Brother Eternity realizes the meteor is gone and sees Wally steal it on the security cameras. He reveals that the supposed coup was a trick and tells Tempest, who appears to be brainwashed, that he needs to go to the Titans. He stands close to Tempest and orders him to open his mouth. Weird tendrils emerge from the Eternity's mouth and reach for Tempest. Titans 2023, Issue 4. Beast Boy wants to do more for the world and decides to replant the rainforest in Borneo that was destroyed. The other Titans enthusiastically agree to help him, but Nightwing refuses to let the Flash go, as his alternate timeline self died sometime in the next 24 hours. He calls Linda to talk sense into Wally, and she convinces him to sit things out and let his friends help him. Most of the Titans go to Borneo, but find the demolition team forcibly displacing villagers and leveling the village. They fight the villains off and find that they are stronger than usual, as someone has outfitted them with better equipment. Meanwhile, Tempest comes to the tower and infects Linda with the same alien parasite that Brother Eternity gave him. Nightwing and Cyborg take Wally and the possessed Linda to their secure trophy room on Mars. When Nicola was asked in an AIPT interview what the best part is about doing a Titans book, she responded, "Good Lord, well, it's able to be playing with these characters in their adult phase of their life as they come back together. We're so familiar with them as teenagers and finding their way as heroes, but now they're fully fledged adults that have been heroing for a really long time. Now they get to come back to be a team together as adults, sort of fulfilling the promise of their childhood training. They've been working their whole lives for this." Titans 2023, Issue 5. This was the final issue in the Titans run to feature artwork by Nicola Scott. The Titans subdues the demolition team in Borneo. To fix the damaged rainforest, they went to Levi Camel, the Swamp Thing, for his help. For quick context, Swamp Thing, created by writer Len Wein and artist Bernie Wrightson, has been around since 1971. Swamp Thing is often depicted as a anti-hero swamp monster, resembling an anthropomorphic mound of vegetable matter, seeking to protect nature and humanity from threats both scientific and supernatural origin. These duties are often as an expression of his designation as the avatar of the green, making Swamp Man the embodiment of the cosmic energies that gives life to all plant life in the known universe, often dubbed the Green. The Green is often in rivalry with the Red, which is the embodiment of all animal life, including humanity, which Animal Man and Beast Boy are connected to. His powers include manipulation of plant matter, allows for changing shape and size, traveling through time, and can appear in places where there's life. Additional abilities include super strength and fast regenerative powers. This version seen in the issue is the third prominent person to have assumed the Swamp Thing mantle. In 2021, Levi Kamel, a 26-year-old scientist from India with knowledge in biology, botany, and chemistry. I'll admit my knowledge of Swamp Thing is minimal at best, but I will say he was an interesting counterpoint in the recent DC miniseries City Boy, where the titular character Cameron Smith, who is able to communicate with, interact with, and interface with cities as if they are actual living beings, and is able to manipulate and grow cities on demand, was directly threatening the green and plant life on the city borders that Swamp Thing works so hard to protect. Meanwhile, in the Titans' trophy room on Mars, Dick and Wally came to find Linda acting strange and messing with the dangerous artifacts. Fortunately, the weapons there were all neutralized by Dick. Wally slowly approaches Linda when suddenly a creature with tendrils jumps out of her mouth heading towards Wally, only to be stopped mid-air by Dick by a zap from his Eskrima stick. Dick mentions how the meteor retrieved from the Church of Eternity had markings indicating a creature hitching a ride to Earth, and given how Future Flash died, seemingly being shot point blank by someone close to him, he suspects the presence of mind-controlling alien parasites. Items in the Mars Titans trophy room include Steve Dayton, aka Memento, or Beast Boy's adopted father, and the Doom Patrol's helmet, granting genius-level intellect, but long-term causes include mental instability, exacerbating conditions like paranoia and early-onset dementia. There was also Mr. Twister's power staff, a mystical item, granting elemental control of possible Native American origin, though probably not considering how Wally refers to it as problematic. Mr. Twister was the villain of The Brave and the Bold issue 54, who Wally, Dick, and Garth first teamed up against, before even using the Teen Titans moniker, after he, a white man, appropriated the supposed shaman stick to reap revenge. You can also see a brown robe with a silver mask, the costume of the second Phantasm, who contained the combined forms of a short-term Titan called Danny Chase, as well as Raven's mother Arella and the souls of Azarath. This Phantasm has zero connection to the one in Batman Mask of the Phantasm. You can also see the black vest with gold harness studded with gold hemispheres that was worn by the Fearsome Five's Mammoth. The Quardian Doomsday machine is from the planet Quard in the Antimatter universe seen in Green Lantern comics, and the planet featured in a Super Friends episode called Doomsday. The lightning bolt of Zeus can potentially be seen in the Hall too, as well as a trident used by the villain called Trident. Very inventive name. One of Brother Blood's ceremonial sacrificial helmets, and one of Deathstroke's old swords, among other relic items. Back in Borneo, the remaining Titans and Swamp Thing worked together to restore the burnt-down forest. Starfire flew to the sky and released her energy, which is noted to be ultraviolet, imitating sunshine. Beast Boy turned into multiple insects to help restore the flora and fauna. Swamp Thing asks if Raven is worried about Garth splitting his mind across many creatures at once, in which she tells him she does worry. She states how it concerns her that a little piece of Garth fades away if the insect be transformed or is killed, yet he does not give up. A day later, Wally, Dick, and Victor reunites with the team in Borneo. The reforestation was successful. Swamp Thing was invited to become a part-time member of the Titans, which Levi agrees to. Elsewhere, Tempest is with Brother Eternity, who mentions launching a probe to end the human race. So, as an additional note, Marv Wolfmann mentions that the original Brother Blood back in the 90s was a commentary on religious TV evangelists, people trying to get your money and are preaching all this stuff and get their followers to believe they can be cured by doing so. So Wolfmann envisioned Brother Blood as a horror version of that. When asked by AIPT, your run pulls a lot from the Wolfmann Perez run, including Tempest and a new Brother Blood. Will any more elements return, like Deathstroke? Tom responded, Deathstroke. Because he was just a huge part of Dark Crisis and we just came off of that, we thought we'd leave Deathstroke alone. And Beast World is so much bigger than a super-powered mercenary. It's a massive event and the first led Titans event in a while. This is their moment to shine and take on something that could consume the universe. After reading this run, who is your favorite non-Nightwing Titan and why?